All right, it is 7 o'clock, so I think we'll call this meeting to order. Let's start with some introductions. My name is Lucy Thayer. I am the chair of the DRB.
I'm Jason Stone, DRB member.
I'm Elizabeth Blaisdell. I'm a DRB member.
I'm Dave Ballou, and I'm the assistant.
Vice chair.
Lucy, vice chair.
That's right. You're not my assistant, Dave.
I don't like using the word vice.
That's right. And then, although if you want to be my assistant, I'm taking applications. And then on the phone we have
Joe Burkett.
All right. So welcome to the June 29th, 2023 DRB hearing. Erica, did you give me the warnings that were published?
Yes.
Okay.
You got it with the sheet I gave you, the big one.
Okay.
The big long sheet.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. All right. So we will start off by reviewing the agenda. Are there any changes, additions, or other modifications to the agenda as written? All right. I think that, so we can kind of discuss this briefly, but I was hoping that we would be able to go through the approve or discuss the rules of procedure and conflict of interest policy that we got last month. But I'm ready to do that, but Jason said you haven't had a time to review it yet, so you want to postpone that to next meeting?
Yes. Yeah.
Is that okay with you guys?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so we won't change that. So if there's no changes to the agenda, can we get a motion to approve it as written?
So moved.
I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? So moved. All right, let's get right into business. We have a full house here today. So we're going to open the first hearing, which is application 23-16. That is G. Thayer Layton Landscapes LLC, applying to operate a landscape masonry business to include employees and materials in the AAR zoning district. So we'll just kind of talk quickly about if anybody's got any conflicts of interest or establish rules of procedure. So how this is going to operate first is we'll open it up for testimony from the applicant, and then after that we will ask questions, and then anybody who is here from the public to speak will have an opportunity to do so. I think it's a good time to clarify who is an interested person, because those are people who have a different party status. So those are the applicant, or if the applicant does not own the property, the person owning the title to the property. The municipality is an interested person. A person owning or occupying property in the immediate neighborhood of a property that's subject to any zoning decision or act that can, or who can demonstrate a physical or environmental impact on the person's interest under the criteria reviewed, and who alleges that the decision or act, if confirmed, will violate municipal or bylaws. And then also any 10 persons, either voters or landlords, who by signed petition to the Development Review Board allege the decision or act, if confirmed, will violate the municipal plan or bylaw. Also any department or administrative subdivision of the state owning property in the municipality or the Agency of Commerce and Community Development. So if you're an interested party, that's kind of an important thing to know. You have a different status. So I think we'll open it up, and I believe you look like the applicant, so if you want to just introduce yourself.
Chair,
yeah.
don't forget to swear him in.
I will. So this is for anybody who's going to provide testimony.
Okay.
So if you could raise your right hand and just affirm to the following. I hereby swear that the evidence I give in the cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth, under the pains and penalty of perjury.
Yes.
All right. All right, go for it.
Okay. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Layton Thayer. I live on the Creek Road, and I own Layton Landscapes and Masonry. Make sure these folks can see me. I don't want you to forget who I am. I started Layton Landscapes and Masonry because I wanted freedom and flexibility, the ability to carve my own path, leave my stamp, and build a legacy. We stretch through the state of Vermont, specializing in outdoor living spaces and finished masonry work. My business went from a pickup truck to 7 full-time employees, 6 trucks, trailers, and small equipment. In an honest oversight, I never thought twice about the ability to have my business operating out of the barn that sits to the southern edge of the property I share with my wife and daughter. I took the farm trucks and tractors less than a half mile north, the manufacturing plant less than a half a mile south, as a permit of operation. My total belief that I was not disturbing anyone. I was a hardworking young man trying to build something special and serve my community. My business offers good paying jobs at a more than livable wage, including retirement packages, paid time off, paternity leave, clothing allowances, and educational opportunities. We have donated to countless causes. Most recently, the Wallingford Little League team, Justin Thomas Memorial Park renovation, Tatum's Totes, Mill River football, and while in its existence, the Great Elfin Lake 5K. However, I no longer stand here looking for a permit to operate my business in the long term. I have made other arrangements to move LLM, and with the blessing of the DRB in a 60-day window, Layton's Landscapes and Masonry will relocate to a commercially zoned facility that is eager to take on a thriving business in the center of our working region. That's all I got.
So basically you're saying, so
I need some time to move. It's my busy season. I didn't know I was getting kicked out of my own home, which is fine.
yeah,
And so, you know, if this was January, I'd be able to make a pivot, but I gotta get the facility ready. I haven't signed the lease yet, but it's happening. It's on the fast track. And
So-
if I don't sign there, I will find somewhere else.
so basically you're kind of withdrawing your application.
Effectively, I'm just looking for some leniency to make a move. I understand when I don't need to be where I am, and we'll just it's easier that way.
So
We're
not an enforcement board. We're like,
I understand.
yeah, so
Yeah,
we're
you're
not looking to like,
No,
that's, I think
I
that's.
know I'm not going to jail. I just
No, I mean, that's not what we do here, just generally. We'll review applications and like approve.
Okay. Well, like I said, I pivoted about 36 hours ago.
Yeah, so then it sounds like some things have changed and this is kind of something of a.
Well, it's been in the talks for a couple of years, but if anyone looks at Zillow, there's not a lot in the landscape to buy. It's not a fact of funds or want, it's a fact of not being able to move.
Yeah.
And, I've had a friend reach out, and the blocks fell into place, the stars aligned, and so now it's just a good time to go.
Yep.
So I've already made moves in my yard to clean up and organize
Yeah.
for transportation, and yeah, so I think it's pretty easy. I just need you guys to say you're not going to find me and give me till
Well, and that's my
September 1.
point. We don't find, that's not what we do. We don't find anybody. That's like a town, that's like not our jam, right? We just are here to review applications under consideration. And it sounds like you're withdrawing your application because you found other arrangements. So I think that whoever is the enforcement agency at the town, which might be like the zoning administrator, that would be the person to talk to for leniency. Because we operate kind of in conjunction with the zoning administrators, the staff for the development review board, but our role is really to approve applications as they come if they have certain criteria as required in our bylaws.
Okay, so I should call Ms. Berner next Monday?
Yeah, that would be a
Miss Berner will not be here on Monday.
or just like, yeah, but that's,
I'll
so,
send her an
Do you know
email.
what
Yeah.
the rules are about that, Erica? About this subject, he's asking for this, does the DRB,
Actually, the
does any of
DRB,
this come to the DRB?
actually, the DRB does have it in its power to issue a temporary permit to give him 90 days, but you don't have to.
but that wasn't
But-
warned or requested.
Yeah, I know.
Move fast, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah. However, he is operating illegally in that zone, and you have to deny, even though he's withdrawing.
How would we deny a permit that's being withdrawn? That
Well-
doesn't make sense.
It's not in writing. This is something that
I
needs to
mean,
be
it's on,
talked.
I'm under oath and in front of the camera.
I know.
How much closer you want to get?
And I need a copy of that statement for the record, please.
Yeah. I mean,
Sorry.
This is, yes, please,
Maybe we need an
Oh, no, you don't
executive
have to.
session
My name's Alan.
to seek
Yeah.
legal
as long as
counsel.
your name's on it.
Well,
This
I
is
think we-
something that I think you have to go into
I mean, I went 5
deliberative.
years operating right there. Can I go 60 more, 70 more days and just move my equipment?
Well, this is something that deliberative session, I think, needs to. be
yeah, what do
discussed.
you guys think we should, can we get a motion to go into a deliberative session?
It's pretty, I mean, we could have had a 3-hour argument. I got every neighbor on the block right here. I think it's
Aye.
pretty decent accommodation in my opinion.
All in favor of going to executive session?
Aye.
Aye.
Can you guys call me with that decision?
All right, so moved. Yeah, you are, so this is kind of weird.
I'm sorry.
It's
you
not your
guys
fault.
Specialized training?
No, it's not your fault. We're just like, we're also a civilian board,
I
right?
understand.
So
I
we,
appreciate your
no,
dedication.
not at all. This has just not been something that we've dealt with before, and I think we have some
Here we go, I'll set the precedent.
varying opinions of how's the right way to deal
Okay.
with it. So I think what we'll do is, the hearing has been opened. The next steps would be that we would close the hearing or continue it
Okay.
if we felt we didn't have enough information and needed some more information from you. But I think what we'll do, you know, the zoning administrator will follow up with you kind of with what the next steps are.
Okay.
So,
Thank you guys.
yeah, of course. And for the
Appreciate
record, we have the same last name and first letter, but we are not related.
I know.
And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know you, so
Right.
I just thought I'd put that out there that I didn't say it earlier, so.
Thank you. Very good.
All right, so I think for executive session, I don't know if you folks want to stay around. Were you all here for that hearing? Okay, and maybe you.
We're not even gonna get a chance to say.
I think that we want to go into executive session as how to handle this, but I think that, yeah, you should have an opportunity to speak. We did open the hearing, although Leighton did just leave, so this is all a little bit strange. Is that okay? Should we go grab him? Do you guys want to say it in front of him? It's on recorded.
I just wondering why it took the town 5 years when he donated money to the paper, the newsletter, that he had a business on that road. How come you guys don't say, hey, this guy's running here? Or drive by his house and see that
Right,
he
so
sells
we're a
garbage in
we're a
front of his
development
yard.
review board, right? We don't go around checking the box to see who's doing what. We literally, this is not like actually, we don't actually work for the town. We just kind of come in when there's an application. So we don't review any business. That'd be a great town question. And for the town staff, right? Because we're just residents that have been elected to do this kind of civil servant stuff. So,
Well, this stuff just came to us. This is the first time we've heard about this.
yeah, I mean, and that's just not something we do, is cross-check who is running a business and if it's allowed. That's just not kind of what we do.
You said it went from one pickup and into, you know, heavy equipment up and down a bridge, it's about ready to fall down and everything else too, so there were concerns.
Yeah.
Everybody lives on that road.
And that sounds like a good opportunity for neighbors to kind of raise the red flag, because I think it's hard for the municipality probably to police what's going on in all the neighborhoods, especially if something's grown like that.
If somebody is speaking up, could you identify yourself?
Yeah, so maybe, hold on one second. We wanted to go into executive session, and we all approved that. We need to talk as a board. Would you be willing to give us 10 minutes to talk and come back to kind of, so we can understand where we're at in this process?
Actually, you
Yes.
can just go upstairs.
I know.
Yeah.
And are you all okay with
Us
that?
believer, you guys.
Well, I mean, just.
No, we'll go upstairs and you can just hang out here for
I
a
mean, is
second.
there a reason for us to come back? Is that gonna
If you
deny
wanted
his
to
90
talk.
Would that deny his
If you wanted
90
to talk.
days?
So this is what we don't know is the next steps. We're gonna have to talk about what we all interpret the bylaws to be as to how our role factors into
Can't let
this.
you hash it out.
Yeah, but we're gonna do it like we have the opportunity to do it kind of just without, so you all are welcome to stay and wait for us to come back and speak your piece. If you could say your name for the record.
Sean Bolger. I also had one other quick question. Is he asked for a permit for his masonry business. He also runs a trucking business out of his yard, Thayer Transport, and I didn't see anything about that on his board. That's where all the big dump trucks are. So I don't know what he's gonna do about that. I guess I should have asked before he left.
Yeah, this has been a weird, this has been kind of a strange situation. Didn't expect this today when we came in. So I don't have an answer to that, and we would really like to talk amongst ourselves and figure out some things.
Yeah, John Pullen, and I'm just, I guess I'm totally confused. Isn't this more of a zoning problem than it is a review board problem?
Yeah, you
I
might.
mean, he's in violation of the zoning, and here he sits 72 more days. I'd say 2 tempers going out, he could park his stuff down there.
That would be
He could probably lease some land from him.
that'd be a discussion with the town and the enforcement action agencies, like the zoning administrator, but that's really not what this group of, that's not what we decide. We don't have, so we're gonna take 10 and we'll come back, and if you're still here, we're happy to kind of continue this conversation, but I think we do need to just press pause on the questions and all of the thoughts, because this is not what we had originally come in to discuss.
We've already
Well, the thing that, the point I'm trying to make is if he's in violation of the zoning
Yeah, I know,
laws,
yeah.
what's
So-
the point of even
Let's,
reviewing it?
so we will be back. So we are reconvening at 7:25. We had a motion to come out of deliberative session and that passed unanimously. So I think we can share with you what our discussion was up there, and we have voted to unanimously deny the permit. So that's kind of where we are at now. The hearing is not necessarily closed. I guess if there's anything the public wants to say in the last bits, you're welcome to say something, but that's where we landed. And if you do want to speak, please raise your hand and identify yourself.
My name is Dan Pelkey. I live at 376 Creek Road. I am the land that borders Layton to the south. I just have one simple question. There's been all this discussion about him adding and doing business, and I have no problem with that. I'm not pointing any fingers. My problem is that he expanded his driveway largely onto my property. I want to know if you guys have any advice into where to point me to make sure this problem is corrected before he leaves. I mean, he made it sound like he was just moving his business, but I don't need him packing up in the middle of the night and trying to sell this place with this land dispute, and wondering if you guys have some direction and what I need to do to make sure that is cleaned up before he leaves.
I believe I would direct you to the zoning administrator.
Okay.
And then I think from there you would have a discussion as to kind of what the next steps are. And then, yeah, if you've got survey information, you probably kind of look into that and the property lines and that and whatnot. But that's another enforcement piece.
Okay.
Sorry, we can't be more.
That's fine. I'm not looking to take everybody's time up tonight. I'm just trying to make sure that my property gets put back to the way it was before all this happened. That's all.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
That might be go to something like end up check with Erica and then possibly end up.
And we don't need to do that in this meeting. I'm not looking to take up everybody's time. I can make an appointment to have a conversation another time.
Yeah. Yeah, and then environmental court is always an option.
Say that
environmental court, if you can't get resolution through the town, that's always a kind of last course of action.
Okay.
Where you can speak with legal counsel, so, yes.
That's a town thing, or that's a
Nope.
state thing? What are you
It's
talking? Court.
environmental court,
So it's legal, okay.
that's a legal
Yep.
thing through the state, yeah.
Thanks.
Anybody else wanna say anything?
Dave Machine, 640 Creek Road. So he didn't get his 90-day temporary permit? Is that what you guys said? You're not?
So.
I'm trying to understand that.
All we can do, this is a warned hearing, and we can only discuss the applications that are warned to the public. Otherwise, it's not fair, right? If you come in and you say, hey, by the way, I actually want to do something else that I didn't apply for, then we can't hear that because it hasn't been properly noticed. There's a state requirement, 15 days, it needs to be posted in specific locations. So we can't even hear that kind of a discussion. All we can do is vote on the application that was provided. And the application that provided was to operate a masonry landscape business. And that permit was denied. So we've ruled on no other things because we've received no other requests, and that's.
So he has to put forward a motion or a paperwork to get a 90-day.
An application.
So he does that through the clerk's office or through?
He just submitted it.
That's what he submitted to her, okay.
He submitted it to Erica, so Erica
Oh,
has
she
it.
should have it up.
All he submitted to me, my request was his statement of fact that he put, by the way, there's no such thing as a 90-day permit.
Right.
Oh, that's what it was?
He was asking for leniency, and that's not something that we can grant. That's just not, that's again, we hear applications, specific applications, and that was not provided to us, so that's nothing that we are going to rule on or provide.
Okay.
Yeah.
Erica, can you tell us what the rules are about zoning violations and failure to comply?
I've been looking at it myself. The problem that we have, and I will have to research this, is the fact that in order for him to operate, he needs a permit. Hear me out. He needs a permit that's approved by the Development Review Board. that directs the zoning administrator to issue the permit with facts of findings and everything else. Conclusions, facts of findings. You're all familiar with that. The only permits that this office is allowed to issue are permits that are allowed under the current zoning regulations. If it's outside of the current zoning regulations, it has to go before the Development Review Board for an exemption. I cannot issue, for example, as much as sometimes I would like to. Somebody comes in with a subdivision, I can't issue that no matter what. Somebody comes in building a shed and it's more than 8 by 10 or 8 by 12, yes, I can do that. But somebody comes in and they want to tear down, you know, Cumbies and put something else up, that's you. In this particular case, yes, he is subject to violation, and I would have to look at the statutes before I make a comment as to how much, but it could be per day. Could be as low as $5 per day, it could be as high as $200 per day, going back 5 years. So that's something that I will have to look up before I talk to him again. But I mean, I was totally unprepared for this myself because we didn't expect it. The big question is, and I will have to talk to the VCLT, the big question is, if he continues to operate where he is, for say the next, as he asked for, 60 days, it would have to be without a permit unless the board directs me to issue a permit. I cannot issue a permit. So he would be in violation for 60 days, plus all the back time. Now, the zoning administrators, my understanding, does have a discretion over the fact that they don't have to charge the full amount. The other thing is, he does have a violation letter on the property, and it is outstanding at the moment because you just denied the permit. He cannot sell the property, nor can the owner of the property sell the property until the violation letter is satisfied. He can go to the bank and everything, but I get at least one inquiry a week from a closing attorney who wants to know if there are any open violation letters. And if there are any open violation letters on the property, they have to be settled before you can go to closing, or arrangements with the bank. Say, for example, and this is strictly an example, somebody comes in and says, I'm not going to do anything for I added 3 bathrooms, 2 bedrooms, you can't tell me what to do on my property. Issue a violation letter, they come in, they say, too bad, tough luck, fine. The violation letter stays right behind you. 3 years from that point, let's say this individual decides that they're going to go sell the property. They go through. One of the things that most real estate agents will do is say, okay, now this is listed as a 3-bedroom house on the property, but you've got 5 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. Then they start digging in, and then the open violation letter comes up, and then we have to negotiate and talk. So it's not a lien, but unless the buyer's paying cash, most banks that I had that I've talked to or have called me, that is their main problem. Open violation letters or any building permits that haven't been satisfied. So, and there is an open violation letter on file at the moment for him to be running a business.
So we have issued no permits, and if he continues to operate, it is in violation. I think is the kind of abbreviated version of that. Yes.
I was just curious, you denied the permit. So That means he has to cease operation. When?
We don't do cease and desist, that's also not what we do, but we did say that what he has requested is denied. So that then kicks it back to the zoning administrator for enforcement action. And I recommend if you're concerned, you can speak with her and see what kind of options, and also reach out to the various state agencies if there's other concerns about environmental stuff or anything like that.
So this is the first time. This is the first time this has come up for us. So
Yeah.
it's going to take give her some time to do some research on this and figure out just exactly what the statute says.
But we
then go from
don't
there.
make recommendations. We will make decisions and then give them to, and that she'll kind of like process them.
Okay.
I think. Yeah.
And quite frankly, I will not be here next week. 4th of July week, the town hall is closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. And I am not going to be around. So it's going to be at least a week before I can get, well, 10 days before I can get to it.
But emails are always open, so you can always email. Yes.
Sean Bolger. My main concern for coming here tonight was just to make sure that my residential agricultural area stays that way. I didn't want it to turn into a business area for future businesses to be able to move in and increase my property value. So I'm still pretty concerned about the Thayer transport on that property. He has two large trucks and a large trailer, and from what I understand, he just ordered a whole bunch of dumpsters from Casella's, which it's an eyesore in my neighborhood. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, it's just odd that you didn't even ask for a permit for that.
Yep. So then I would say that could also be, that sounds like it potentially might be a violation as well. And I encourage you, if you're concerned, to write a letter so it's on the record. And then also, reach out to any state agencies that might be.
The state this environmental is investigating and for his illegal dumping.
Yeah.
So, but the trucking thing, do I write a letter to Sharon or to?
You'd write it to the zoning administrator, and it certainly doesn't hurt to copy like Sandy did. So just that it gets a lot of eyes on it. And
I just didn't want that one. Well, I moved mine to Cuttingsville, this business, but I still have this business here. So I just want we just don't want any business in our residential agricultural area.
Mm-hmm.
So finding wise, like, let's say he pulls in half a dozen dumpsters in the next, I'm sorry, do it again, David Bashir. If he pulls in half a dozen dumpsters in the next week or so or whatever, do they fine more per dumpster, or do they just go, oh, you're paying the $5 or the $200, or how does that work? If he figures he's got some time and just put whatever he wants there for the next 60 days.
That's not something that we can answer here again.
Yeah,
that's going to be going to zoning administrator.
Okay.
Yeah.
She needs to research.
These are a lot of challenges.
And then call your lawyer and file.
Sounds like you're going to get a week off just to comprehend it all.
Yeah. This is, like I said, we're not an enforcement agency. We really just review applications as they come to us, and then we do look at things like character of the area and compatibility and what's allowed in our bylaws, because really we have a set of rules that we follow and we review that have been approved by the town, and that's really kind of what we use as our guiding principle. So this is kind of a little outside of, not a little, it's totally outside of what we do. We did what we did and we denied it. That's kind of where our piece ends. I'm sorry that seems somewhat unsatisfactory kind of in your situation, but that's...
Well, in the end game, that's what we wanted.
Okay.
We just wanted to stay residential agriculture.
Right.
So, are there any other comments from the public? Otherwise, I think maybe we have some other business and we'll move to the next. Okay, well, thank you very much for your participation. And have a nice evening. All right, so where's my...
Oh, that's the car.
A lot of papers on this one.
Folks, have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Can I just ask you one question? Get in contact with me, we'll get back on it.
So,
You can always email me.
all right, we have motioned in and out of deliberative session.
To make sure we all are.
I think that we can let them talk here, but let's, we'll move on to item number 6, the continuance of hearing from June 8th. Mr. Page?
Tough act to follow.
Yeah. Oh, Erica wants to finish up, so hold on one second. And then, did we need to call your engineer? I heard they might be available via phone.
I'm texting with him right now. His flight got delayed, so I'm not sure he's gonna get available.
Thank you guys for your time.
Yep, thank you.
I think he's just about to get on a plane.
Oh gosh, who's your engineer?
Evan Fitzgerald.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yep. Oh gosh, tough timing. Does it?
Yeah, he was on vacation and he was thought he was gonna be back in time to.
Does he have other staff on hand that could answer the questions? Or any other things you want?
I didn't arrange any of that. I didn't get in arrange like any alternate.
Sure. So. Now, I believe that you provided us some supplemental information. Would you mind telling us what you, so maybe I could start with what we asked.
Yeah, I didn't have a chance to get everything that on the list, but I was hoping Evan was going to be able to speak to some of it. But I got the survey that you asked for, and they did another site plan that showed the offsets for the building. I gave, and this one was just really late, so I understand if Eric didn't get a chance to get this one, but I did provide a general architectural, what it's going to look like from an architectural standpoint.
Yeah, I have not seen.
That one I just sent, so that like I can't remember, like a few hours ago or something. So it's
I took the email right from it almost remember because yeah, at 8:18. I can show it.
It's probably, it's probably one of the least critical pieces, I guess. Anyways, it's just kind of like a picture of like what I'm thinking it would look like.
To the board.
Yeah.
It's on my computer.
Getting into my email here so I can see what I sent you. I didn't get like down to the specific like flood vendors that we were going to use. I didn't get to that point with Evan on doing like a full design of the foundation in the site.
Yeah, maybe let me just read let's refresh everybody's memory as to kind of the information we were looking for. That might give us a little good jumping off point. So we had requested a site plan showing property lines, encumbrances on the parcel, including rights of way, easements, etc. The rivers, streams, and utilities. There was mention of a manhole on the property at the meeting. Proposed setbacks, building locations, essentially the development envelope where the buildings are allowed. The proposed garage floor elevation, the proposed second floor elevation for the living area. 2, the applicant has, you said you had a survey which you provided. I think we requested it at full size, and I doubt that this is full size what I'm looking at, but we do have a survey, so that's better. Proposed tree and vegetation clearing information, and we'd also requested the applicant to reach out to the state agency, the Agency of Natural Resource, regarding recommended vegetative buffers that should be retained along rivers, streams, in regard to floodplain and river management. And then lastly, information on flood proofing, written description, potentially product information, images showing the style of architecture, primary architectural information or description, or any other information the applicant has about flood proofing. So, yeah. I think we've got some of this information.
Yes, the survey shows the right-of-way, and in the email description, the manhole cover is in the right-of-way shown on there for the fire district. The one you need to look at is in the upper right-hand corner of the survey. There's a box on the upper right-hand corner.
Point to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, right there. Yep. That survey was for both pieces of property. So
parcel, like, wait, that's the GMP easement. So that's the parcel.
And then there it shows the Wallingford Fire District right away in there. And the manhole cover is located in there.
this is something right here.
Yeah, and that's the same as this. I think one thing that'd be really helpful was if this site plan had been like on top of this survey, and if this had been at a bigger scale. You know what I mean? Then we could have seen, because what you've drawn here doesn't look the same as what I see on this plan in terms of, like, you know, that says 40 feet, but this is not a kind of to scale drawing.
Right, yeah, this definitely not.
Which kind of makes it a little bit hard to read.
Right. Yeah, I mean, so, right, this is printed out small, but that's 40 feet there. All these measurements will match this survey.
Yeah, but you can see, like, just where this, just if you look at the angle, this guy, you know, are these manholes here?
No, those are surveying markers.
So is that the property line?
Yeah.
So kind of, I can't even tell where the property line even starts here.
The dark line.
Yeah, I know, but if you're telling me that the property line, because that's an easement otherwise, then your property line would actually be, right?
Well, the property line's the same, and they just have
so that's the easement.
They have an easement.
Well, then that's what, yeah. You can see how this is like kind of a little confusing, right?
Not really.
Really? Come on, come on.
The property line is the property line. The easement doesn't affect it.
Right, yeah. That's
but it affects what happens on the property. Like.
Right, which is why the house is back further. That, and because the Green Mountain Power has, as I mentioned, a right-of-way through here for power going over to the solar farm. So the further back this is on a little bit of an angle, so the further back to the west of the property, the more room there is between this property border and the Green Mountain Power right-of-way.
Yeah, because there's also an easement here.
The easement is right here.
Well, this says this area is subject to a 20-foot wide easement along.
It's that right there. It's right in the front of the right-of-way.
Okay, it looks like there's more than one easement. Like
there isn't.
Really? This looks. See, this is just. It's just really small. I'm maybe.
Well, what does this have to do with the flood part?
Just we're trying to understand what's going on the property. I don't know. Do you guys? Is it clear as day to you guys?
Well, on the easement subject, I think that his problem in complying or honoring an easement is between him and the holder of the easement. That's not.
Yeah, I'm not going to be anywhere near the 20-foot right-of-way that
the setbacks should be measured from the right-of-way, not the easements. The easements probably don't change his setback requirement.
Right. It's the property border is still the property border, I think.
Do you think it's fine?
I made an inquiry about that fire district right-of-way, and I was told that there was a possibility they would go that right-of-way up.
They didn't even know they had it. When I called Mary Ann, they didn't even know why they asked me if I knew why it was there, and I said I don't know. Only thing I think of is because the manhole cover is there, and maybe they want to make sure that they have access to that. I have no idea. It's something I think it mentions in here. It's in the books from like
1976.
Was it? Yeah.
That's what I want to know. Is like, so the width of the property is 62 feet.
Yeah, it depends on where you're measuring from.
I'm looking at this.
That's just that one part.
Correct. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the 62 feet.
But that's not the width of the property.
I know that. I understand that.
Okay, you just said the width of the property.
The width of the property at the kind of area that you're looking to develop.
Yeah, there's a Green Mountain Power right away here.
I want to do the math. You see what I'm saying? So like you have.
That's what I'm saying. So the further I can go back here, and I described it in the email that we would build the house right up against the edge of the Green Mountain Power right away, and it's about 77 feet. Again, this is on the angle, so it depends on exactly like where you have it. So it's about 77 feet right here from the outside phase of the Green Mountain Power, which is where they measure it from, because it's a 3-phase power. You get 25 feet, and then you get, so that's what the 25 feet is showing right there. So then it'll be the width of the building, and then we would not go any closer than 10 feet, which is what it's zoned for, because it's industrial, close to the Jackson property. And that's why I was saying last time, like, you know, when I'm gonna have to have them come out and mark it specifically, and like, well, the house could be 30 feet, it could be 32 feet, you know, we're gonna make it so that it doesn't, you know, infringe on Green Mountain Power's right away, or it'll be less than 10 feet from the border of the Jackson property. So again, you know, all these numbers.
Lucy, did you go down to the site?
Yeah, I didn't buy it.
Well, I can get out and walk it.
I didn't walk it, no.
Well, I did, and I walked it with Albert Jackson.
Yeah.
I made sure where the property line was based on Albert.
And you found the pins?
No, it goes right through the
Lilac
row of
bushes.
lilac trees.
There's lilac bushes
Yeah, I see that
there.
here.
And, you know, I talked with him down there Sunday. I went down and was looking at this Creek Road thing that we just went through, this other hearing, and I came by and he was there for a change, and I said, well, now's the time to talk to him and make sure that what we're getting from you agrees with what he says. So, and he said that it property line went right down through the lilac trees, and so.
I had talked to him. I've already talked to him too.
Yep, what else did he say, Dave?
Well, he said he didn't have any problem, and he said he was a house back there when they moved in.
He's the one that told me that too, yeah. In the 70s when he moved in, there was that foundation is still there, the stone.
On that lot.
Also, we didn't swear you in again. So can we just swear you in now, and can you just like, can we say that?
Actually, he's still sworn in.
I think that you still need
I
to,
never swore.
You can.
okay, well, that's fine. We'll just like, I know it continues, but maybe it's a good idea just to say it again. Gosh, there's a lot of papers here today. I think this one goes, gonna have to organize my folder again, but we'll do it just for the record. I know that you're still telling the truth, but. Can you just affirm the following? I hereby affirm the evidence I give and the cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth under the pains and penalties of perjury.
Yes.
Okay.
Even everything I said up to this.
Yes, I think Erica's right. You're still under oath. So could we? Honestly, it's a little challenging not to have had this information in advance. Like I didn't get a chance to look at any of this before today. So can you respond to the other questions that we had?
Maybe or maybe not.
The proposed garage floor elevation, the second floor elevation.
Yeah, again, I haven't paid to have an architectural.
You don't need to. That would be something that Evan could figure out.
Yeah, I mean, right. So I haven't paid. I'm going to have to pay Evan to do it too. I'm going to have to pay somebody to do it, an engineer. So I have not gone to that level to have them actually do the site plan or like what. Because I'm trying not to spend more money on this, and then again, like I mentioned last time, I've already spent a bunch of money on it. I don't want to keep spending money on it just to have it.
So you're not gonna tell us the finished floor elevations? Is that kind of what you're telling us?
If we can get some conditional something in the place so that I can say like if I supply this information and it meets the guidelines, then I will. But I'm not gonna spend thousands of dollars more on the property and then just to have it denied. So I need to have some kind of assurance that if I meet what the guidelines are that are stated, that I told you I'm going to meet with the flood vents, with the elevation, with everything, that I need some kind of assurance that I'm going to get that approved. So
it's a give and take too, right? Like you tell us some things, and then we can say, okay, this is what you're going to do. So now we can like condition it, because I mean, it's not really our job to engineer.
No, I feel like I've given. I mean, I've given you a lot of information that, and I'm planning on. And I don't.
Because you are in a special floodplain district, right? And the state did provide some letters about heights and elevations and that sort of stuff. That original email. So that's why we're asking the question. It's not like we're trying to drill you down and make you like.
Well, no, but I mean, it feels to me like a lot of the questions you're asking don't really pertain to like the problem, like the architecture of the building. What does that have to do with it being in a flood zone? That like what the building's going to look like. We're
not talking about what it's going to look like. That's not what the question is. It's about have you read the floodplain regulations?
Yes.
So would you be able to attest that you're going to be complying with all
Yeah, that's what I think I did that last time.
elevation regulations?
Yeah, they're a little bit.
I would not build it outside of what the town regulations are.
So they're a little bit loose in some parts of it where we have the discretion to. That's why we can ask you these questions, because it's like at the discretion of the board. Dave, did you want to say
Personally,
something?
I think we're beating this to death. He's already told us he's gonna build it to spec with the flood regulations that we have. I don't see why we keep going back and going back to the same thing. He has said he's gonna put the flow doors on it and all this stuff. And the actual design of the property is his business, not ours. He's just asked for permission to put the house there. And that's what we have
Put it
to
there,
approve.
meeting the guidelines, the town's guidelines
Right.
for flood zone.
And this, you got,
Whoever else is appropriate, like the state, like, aren't you?
The town adopted their own guidelines, so the state actually doesn't have anything, according to the state, like, according to Evan, I talked to him, like, because the town adopted their own flood guidelines, like, those are the ones that I have to meet, which are the state guidelines. For that, they pretty much match. I think they are the recommended guidelines from the state.
But we did get a letter from the state with recommendations in the last packet. I think we're just asking questions. We're not trying to give you the third degree. We're just trying to like.
Oh, yeah, I know. I'm feeling like I'm not going to be able to convince you specifically that it's okay to build.
Oh, you don't even know where you don't know where I stand on the issue. I just am asking questions. I think you've done a good job so far in providing the information, but I also think that we have, a due diligence to do to just kind of ask some of these questions to make sure,
I mean, like I said, I'm even willing to do like a conditional thing here where it's like, I would like to get some kind of conditional permit so that I can feel comfortable spending more money on the property. But, doing all the engineering and architecture and stuff, that's thousands of dollars more. I've already spent thousands of dollars to get to the point I am on this little 0.3 acre piece of property. And if I'm not going to get permission to build something there, I'm just going to abandon this because it's just not going to make sense.
That was what Kyle said. A complete conditional use application for the town would include a site architectural plan demonstrating the structure meets all the standards for residential development outlined in section 310.7.2. Lowest floor 1 foot above BFE, utilities protected, elevated, supports or foundations adequately anchored, made of flood resistant materials, provide adequate drainage around the structure, etc. If the lower level is enclosed, it would have to include adequate flood vents and wet flood proofing requirements. I'd personally recommend elevating on poster piers with an open bottom for the best chance at long-term resiliency of the structure. Wet flood proofing on the lower level could get complicated. If this is desired, I'd recommend the designer check back with me so we're on the same page. There are many educational resources from FEMA, ... So, right, that's one of the people who is a floodplain manager, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, Evan knows him really well, and Evan submitted the proposal to him to begin with. So it's like Evan.
So I guess the question is, do you think that the lowest floor would be above the base flood elevation? The utilities would be protected and elevated. Those are all things that are like great, right? They're all good.
Yeah, we're gonna have all electrical is gonna be above the 100, whatever it has to be, the 100 year floor. So all it's gonna be on the second floor. Power's gonna be overhead to it. Obviously the water sewer has to go down. That's gonna be the only thing really going down into the ground. The bottom is gonna be a garage. It's gonna be completely unfinished. It's gonna be just an open garage.
Jill, do you have any questions? Beth, do you have any questions? Nope.
I know you were asking and I was hearing the answer, so thank you.
Jason, do you have any questions?
No more, no.
Dave?
no,
Can we get a motion to close the hearing?
I make the motion, we move to deliberative session.
I second it.
Can we get a motion to close the hearing?
Oh, all right, we'll have a motion to close the hearing.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? The motion's passed. So the hearing is closed, and do we want to vote now, or do we want to go into deliberative session?
Deliberative.
Okay, we have a request to go into deliberative session, so we'll honor that. All in favor of going into can we get a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Aye.
All right, so the motion passes, and we are in deliberative session.
Ron.
All right, we are out of deliberative session at 8:06. If you're curious what we voted, you unanimously got approval with conditions. So you can proceed with your spending on getting this all designed and everything. So there are a few conditions, but it's all the stuff we talked about, and they're all things you're gonna do anyway.
Follow the flood regulations of the town.
And recommendations. So congratulations.
Thank you.
You're all set.
Thank you.
Thank you for providing all of the supplemental information. So you didn't know how I was gonna.
Mr. Page, if I can remind you, the permit will be issued. You can't do anything for 60 days after the permit is issued.
I have a lot of work to do before I'm going to be doing anything.
I'm just briefing you. What will happen is I will write up the facts and findings. It will be sent to members of the Development Review Board, make sure there are no typos, and that I have the conditions done correctly. Once it's been signed off, I will issue you the permit. You cannot do anything for 30 days after that permit's been issued.
That's fine.
And then you get the big peace sign that you get to hang up.
I can let Evan loose now on the site plan and stuff so that I can get that part working while we're waiting for the other stuff. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the next business, approve the minutes and decision. I don't think we would be approving any decision from the hearings because decisions would have already, I think that's a typo, Erica. But approve minutes from April 5, from 5 April, June 2023 and June 8, 2023.
Yep. So moved.
Are there any edit? So I think that we can all vote on, let's start with the 5 April.
Okay, I have something.
Yeah, go for it.
At the bottom, the J for Kevin and motion based on 13 February. I believe that came after that whole conversation. Yeah, after David had talked about, he read out of the zoning about the 45 days. And I don't remember making, after we discussed it, I believe I made a motion because we all.
So I need to move.
It was written, so.
So I need to move that statement around?
Before we discussed this, I said it after.
So, yeah, that's what Jill's saying. That you're right, Jill. You're saying that that sentence should be moved.
Yes. To after Dave read the stated regulation.
Okay. After Dave Blue stated the regulation. Okay. I also have a correction. I did not agree that the permit should automatically be approved. So you can please remove my name from that. You can, if Jill agreed, then that's okay. But I did not agree. That's on page 2 of 3 at the top, Jill.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought we all agreed.
I know, I didn't though, so, but that's okay. I just want it clarified in the record. And if I was unclear, I apologize.
I think there are, I wasn't part of the DRB board, but I did go look at the PEG TV recording of this meeting. And I think these minutes do not accurately reflect what transpired in that meeting at all. I think it would be reasonable to. I think it would. A mitigating factor is that I don't know if anyone knows it or not, but this decision by the DRB in this incident has been nullified and revoked by the environmental court.
I hate to interrupt, but I don't
nevertheless, I think that so far as it's simple approving the minutes of the meeting as a factual basis, never mind the merits, somebody might want to listen to the video recording of this and take notes and see if this is should be rewritten.
Well, so yes, and you don't actually get a vote on this, but your point is taken. What is your point? That we should not accept these are you advocating to the board
Wait
that...
a minute, didn't he recuse himself from this whole thing?
He did, but I don't see why he can't talk about so I think he can't vote. He has no vote on the minutes. The only people that can vote on that are you, me, and Dave.
I know, but he's not even supposed to be part of the discussion of it, because he recused himself. Now, I don't know, like, here we are. I'm not
here to discuss the merits of the argument. I'm simply here to discuss the factuality of his minutes. The minutes do not represent the factual occurrence of the meeting. That's the extent of my argument. I'm not taking it.
Erica, she took minutes. How do you feel about that?
I wrote these up the best that I could without having to write up 20 pages.
Yeah.
I am not a stenographer.
I believe they clearly expressed what happened that night.
And I
have no questions in my mind whatsoever about it.
I'd like to make an addition that I suggested we seek legal counsel. It says that you objected, the Thayer objected, believing it was a question of legality, but I also wanted to note that I did recommend that we postpone or we continue the hearing and seek legal counsel. So I'd like to, can we add a sentence that says Thayer?
Where?
It can be after D. Blue read the statement, read the stated regulations as the DRB had to act upon the application within the 45 days of receipt of application. I'd like to say after that sentence that Thayer, I don't know, I guess advocated to continue the hearing and seek legal counsel.
I don't recall that ever coming up.
It did, Dave.
Okay, maybe Erica could watch the video again and revise the minutes, and then we can come back.
Yeah.
We'll be here all night.
So let's table this then. Can we get a?
I would like to make a suggestion. Is you all review the minute. You all review it along. We can all do it together, because I have reviewed it. I've reviewed it 3 times. You know.
Can we get a motion to postpone the approval of these minutes to the next meeting?
I'll make a motion to postpone this.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Wait. What was the motion, please?
To postpone the approval of the minutes until the next meeting. I voted, I motioned, or I'm sorry, Jill motioned, I seconded it, and we're gonna vote now. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? And all opposed?
Aye.
So that's a 2-1, the motion carries. Dave voted to not table it.
I'm
She
not
didn't
allowed
get
to.
to vote.
Wasn't
There's
here.
only 3 of us that get to vote.
Well, if we have to bring this thing back up because of what Jason said, and he wasn't allowed to, shouldn't have been allowed to make comment either.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Dave, but I'm not listening to what Jason said. Jason said what he said, but I'm saying that I was making my own edits to the minutes.
Well, I think that Erica's right. She's watched this.
I also watched it though.
And did you find a lot of change? Wrong with it?
There are 2 additions that I would like to make. I did want to put it into the minutes that I did think that we should continue the hearing. I did say that. I was trying to kind of hold off on the decision because I had questions about the whole process. It didn't make sense to me. If you recall, I did say that. And then I did think that we should try to request some counsel from the town because it didn't meet what I understood the state requirements to be. So, and I never did agree that it should just automatically be approved. That I've not agreed with the entire time. But that's okay, we can disagree. But I just personally wanted to make those corrections. If we're okay with those corrections, I think we could perhaps, I don't know, can we untable it?
You can make a motion to untable it.
No, Jill, you don't think so?
No, this is just this has to be settled one way or the other.
Well, if you're okay, are you not okay with my edits?
I am and I'm not. I think we need like more input on this about what's on record and what the minutes are stating because they need to be really accurate.
Dave, do you have issues with the edits I made?
I don't have issues with what you made. I mean, I know what happened at that meeting, and I know what's recorded on PEG TV, and as far as I'm concerned, that is what it should be saying.
Oh, good, okay.
So, I'm okay with approving these with my edits. I'm not okay with approving them without them. I would like to table them if we need more time. So
I get the point of where Dave's coming because when I read through it, and there's a couple little this and that, but like it's just a synopsis of what happened that night. But because there's contention about it in this particular case, we have to clarify these things because it's gray area. That people love to go swimming in gray area, so I'm not doing that anymore.
So they are effectively tabled. The motion passed, and we will readdress it at the next hearing, and folks can, I think, individually go back, and I hope that you guys got my edits, and then we can, if we can agree on those, then we can approve the meeting minutes next time. Does that sound okay, Jill?
Yes.
I think the edits should be sent around in writing.
Okay.
If you send me the edits, I will add it, and I will send the minutes around in red as to where the edits were.
Okay, I'll send you mine. I did verbalize them, but I'll send them to you as well. Mine were pretty simple. All right, so moving on to the minutes of June 8th. Are there any changes, additions, or edits to these?
Now, are we tabling all of the minutes of the 5th, because April 5th, because you got the other one,
The Sampson? I believe so. I believe we had to table all of the minutes. I don't think we can approve a partial minutes.
That is correct.
They're all tabled.
Yep.
But we've moved on to the June 8th ones. Can we change this to page 2 of 4? Elf, that second to last paragraph, commented she wanted to see drawings. I mean,
wait a minute, what page are you at?
2 of 4.
Yep. Okay.
Elf there commented that she wanted to see drawings before approving the permit application. Like requested, can we say like that requested if it was possible to see drawings? It was, I think it was more of a question. If he could provide them.
So it would read, Thayer commented that she
Thayer requested,
requested.
if it is possible to see drawings. To see drawings of showing where the property pins are located.
I don't really see that being a big change from what's there. What you get written down there is what you actually asked for.
So you don't want to change it, Dave?
I personally don't see any reason to change it. I mean, this is what you said that night.
Well, you know that's what I said. Did you watch?
On page 3, under 5, and 6, can we edit that or correct it so it says E. Blaisdell, not L. Blaisdell?
Yes, I'm sorry. I ran spell check with your name because my computer specifically changed it 3 times. I apologize.
Not a problem.
It's also on page.
And then number 8.
In 2 places.
On 8? Or on 4?
It's okay, I'll go through and correct it all.
Oh, I see it now. Okay, thanks.
Any other edits?
Hold on 1 second there. Hold on. Well, let me see. Sorry, I was busy doing something. Around June 8th, right? Page 224, let's see. Julie Cat inquired about additional documentation, and I think it was about river management. But yeah, I think you need to ask, include river management, because otherwise it just looks like I'm asking for another what?
Okay, additional documentation concerning river management? About? How do you want that to read?
Concerning
river management about like erosion or.
So can it read?
Yeah, tree, you know, you can't just start cutting trees away from the embankment there, so.
Jay Burkett inquired if additional documentation concerning river management was needed as the permit was for conditional use. Is that good?
Yes, yes. And I did hear we addressed that tonight, so.
Did you get that, Erica?
Yeah.
Are there any other?
Okay, if you go up to like a third of the way down, it says Jay Burkett has 15 page intended to go to the deck. And I said deck off the back of his house. Because that would infringe on the setback. He said he could move it in. So it should say deck off the back.
Okay.
And that's it for me.
All right. Any other edits? Can we get a motion to approve the edits as amended?
I make a motion.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The June 8th minutes pass. There's no public comment for item number 8. I believe, is there any other business that we haven't addressed? All right, then I believe we will adjourn the meeting. Do we need a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Yes.
Can we have a motion, please?
So moved. We'll join the meeting.
Second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. The motion passes. We are adjourned at 8:25.